and welcome to Dan and Ian Have Questions. Are you interested in people's unique hobbies, passions, and how it all gets started? Well, you're in the right place. These two, like many of you, know a little bit about a lot and always have questions. Let's sit back, relax, and enjoy as they find out what makes everyone so interesting. This is the Dan and Ian Have Questions podcast.
Hey everybody, this is Dan.
And Ian.
And we have questions, and today we're going to be doing a little bit different. We're going to actually going back what we started last year, where we made movie recommendations for Halloween.
Ooh, yeah.
Lightning bolts.
Yeah,
Remember that?
We can do some visual lightning bolts. Do it again.
Oh, lightning bolts. Lightning.
We'll get it.
I don't know. I keep disappearing, so it's kind of a little bit tough to do that. So, what can you do?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna do some movie recommendations, and I know Ian, probably you're gonna go for a little bit modern, and I'm gonna go like a little backwards, black and white. Just kind of give it a bit of variety. You know what I mean?
Yeah, throw it out there because I can't even remember. I think we did some last year, and I'm like, I hope I don't retread on the same thing here. I didn't go back and listen, but
well, it's too late now.
Yeah, but it's pretty much a year into doing this, a little over a year into doing this. So happy anniversary! Plus happy Halloween.
I bought you a ring.
Oh, nice!
But I lost it.
Nice.
I'm sorry, buddy. What can you do? So. All right. So what do you say? Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first, or what do you want to do?
No, you can go first. We were just going to, I guess, like you said, just give some, talk about some Halloween films.
Movie recommendations. Yeah. And I know this is actually a collection that I got last year from a recommendation from a mutual friend that I had to pick up. And it's some Turner Classic Movies. They came out with like a small bundle of movies, and they had Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde from like the 30s. They had the Haunting, and then they had the House of Wax, and then last but not least, Freaks, the infamous movie that was banned for a very long time because it was so shocking. But like it really, what it is that it was just made audiences at that time feel uncomfortable. But it actually, in reality, made the people who were in that movie like the real heroes, and that normal people were the ones that were the bad ones.
Yeah, and that's one of those. One of those movies I never actually saw myself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so. What year is that? That's 1932. But it's it's kind of so iconic with the just the imagery and the people that are in it. Or the folks, I couldn't tell you their names offhand because I don't even know if it's. I mean, there's the Pinhead and the short
Tom
person.
Thumb.
What's that?
Yeah, Tom Thumb.
Is that the little guy in the tuxedo here?
Yep. Yeah. So like the story is that they're like so Tom Thumb, he actually comes from a rich family, and what happens is there's like these two grifters that come into town. They're a husband and wife, and the wife is the one that woos Tom Thumb, and then attempts to inherit his money, and hilarity ensues. So, it's one of those movies where, like, back in the 90s, it was kind of talked about in hush tones, and it's something that I had to get. So I actually have the VHS version of this as well. But since now no one has a VHS, I had to get it the DVD version of it. So, if you ever have a chance and you're into a kind of like a dark mood, I would definitely recommend checking out Freaks for all you curious people. And I believe that what was it? The Ramones where they actually used their Gabba Gabba Hey Gabba We Gabba One of Us.
Yeah,
it actually came from that movie. So I would check that out and see what you think.
Now, how did you first figure out about this movie?
Well, this was back in the 90s, and it was during that time where like a lot of movies that were banned were slowly started coming into the collective, the Society Collective, because I was really big into Clockwork Orange, and that was like another movie that was banned for a time. And so like as a perfect time for me, the teenage age, I really hunted around and looked for movies that weren't socially acceptable. So that was
Hey,
one of
there's
those
some
movies. It was
talking in
Freaks.
here.
It was Clockwork Orange, and actually anime was really starting to blow up too, because it really started coming around here, at least like where I was living in like the late 80s and early 90s, and that's when it really started kind of blowing up. So like Akira was a big movie that I used to love watching all the time.
Yeah.
Had the shirts, the little figurines. Tried to get my hands on anything that I could for anything like that. So yeah, Freaks is definitely one of those ones that I really searched out high and low, try to find it for myself. So
And I
I recommend Freaks for everyone.
and you every time somebody says freaks, I think of Freaked.
Oh no.
That was one of my favorites amongst friends growing up. You remember that one?
Yes, I do. I do remember that. I think I've only seen it like maybe once or twice, but doesn't is that the one with Bobcat Goldthwait
There's
as like a hand or something like
a
that?
bunch of folks. Let me see. Freaked, 1993. Let's see.
Yeah.
We have Mr. T as the bearded lady.
Yes.
Uh,
Okay.
um, Brooke Shields, William Sadler, Henry Carbo. I mean, yeah, Deep Roy's in it, or
Oh,
as
Deep Roy.
Barry likes to say, Deep Frank Oz. Yeah,
But isn't Bobcat in that?
yeah, that's what I'm looking. Bobcat, he's not on like their top
Oh, all
billing
right.
here. So yeah, he was probably. I wouldn't. It looks like he's on the cover. I can't tell if that's him or not. But yeah, every time somebody
Well,
says freaks or freaks something, I always think of that movie. I just remember
right.
watching it over and over again as like a teen.
Much like that. So, what about you, Ian? What's your first one or your only one that you have?
I'm just laughing because Liz had to go on cat patrol. I was like, "Come take this cat." It was
Uh
tearing up everything. She's trying to tear up my Star
oh.
Wars stuff.
Get him out of
Yeah.
here.
No, I thought of it's a movie everyone. I actually haven't seen it in a while. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it because it's been probably over a year since I've watched it. But Cemetery Man, and that was
Oh,
one you.
yeah. We were talking about that.
Yeah, and I was surprised you were like, oh, you haven't heard of that one because I guess it came out
No.
'94. Let me see who the director was for this because it's an Italian film.
Hmm.
Based on yeah, see, I don't even yeah, see, I should have came more prepared. I don't even know who the director is for this damn thing because
Right.
it's almost in the same vein in my head as like Dead Alive, like
Okay.
that kind of wacky. Oh, director Michel Sauvé.
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
yeah.
So it's a very no up your nose type of thing where it's very snooty. That's a very snooty type of horror
Wait,
film.
wait, what's snooty? Is that what you get with that with Dead Alive? Snooty? I got grossed
No,
out.
no, no. Well, no, because you said it was a French film, right?
Italian. Wait, it was produced. It
Oh,
was
Italian. So
produced between Italy, France, and Germany, I guess. So
yeah, so it's like very snooty, artistic, like horror film or something
yeah,
like
until
that.
you watch it and you go, "Oh my god, this is very juvenile and often outdated." With some of
Right.
the and wrong. Some would say some of the stuff in it, but hey, it's from '94. Give me a break. But yeah, I just
Yeah.
remember watching this movie and. It just has some kind of there's some to the quality to the movies. A lot of the horror movies I like. It's not. It's kind of the set pieces more than anything.
Hmm.
It'll be like, of course, like those old black and white ones. They're on big giant Hollywood sets, and they look like it. And some of those are just so creepy and real looking to this day that
Right.
that still, or freaks you out when you look at it. This one,
Right.
it's kind of over the top, but it's still very stylized in a way. If I remember right, let me I'm gonna cut this out. I said I'm not doing any editing.
Uh-oh. You lied to us, Ian.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a cemetery caretaker. He lives in a ramshackle house. So he lives like a house on the premises of the cemetery, surrounded by death
Right.
with his own mentally disabled assistant, Nagi. All right.
Okay.
Young punks in town spread gossip that Delamorte is impotent. His hobbies are reading outdated telephone directories in which he crosses out the names of the deceased and trying to assemble a puzzle shaped like a human skull. Nagi can speak the word nah. But yeah, I believe, yeah, he falls in love with a woman at a funeral and then she dies and then he brings her back to life and hilarity
Okay.
ensues.
A hilarity
And also
ensues.
Nagi, I believe, brings back an underage girl. So just let's look past that, but that's his girlfriend.
Right, right.
Um but yeah, this movie was just so freaking weird and it popped into my head. It's been a couple times that it's popped into my head and I need to get a copy of it on DVD because I haven't seen it in, like I said, probably over a year now. And if I tried to find it, it'd probably just be on
Right.
YouTube in 15-part chunks.
Right, of course.
Let's see. The director did. Oh, looks like, oh, they've done a lot, but it's all Italian. Have you checked out any newer films, horror films here lately?
I have not. That's the thing. I've been on a bad like B horror movie kick. So it's like all the horrendously bad films that you saw like in the 80s, for like Death Spa, or Chopping Mall, like just horrendously bad film just for the sake of, they had like maybe $15 for a movie budget, and they like they scored like a room or something like that for like a night for free, and they just decided to plop and make a film right then and there, and I don't know why. It's just I really haven't been into a lot of the more modern horror films for some reason. And that's probably why I've also been going back and watching like a lot of like original films. So for like example, like there were, remember all these movies that came in like the late 90s and early 2000s. We had, A House of Wax with Paris Hilton, I
Yeah,
think
that's
was in
just
that film.
that is a bad time for
Yeah,
horror movies because everything was like they were trying to be just too clean and too everything looked too
yeah.
sharp and like it's gotta be like the pretty people are gonna die.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just so I have the original House of Wax, which had Vincent Price in it, and it they obviously the writing is really good. It's all these special effects were amazing. It's just back then it was it's probably cut for the 50s, or whatever it was. It was cut for like that, those people, that audience. So it's not as terrifying as maybe the movies that came out back in, like, now,
Yeah.
but still like they had like a certain feel to it that terrified you. Like for example, like the Haunting, like the original Haunting is terrifying because of like the sound effects that they would do in that movie were terrifying because they like over modulated everything, and it really confused your head, like your headspace of like what's going on, and what is happening in this movie, that it's just making these loud noises. It feels like as if you were actually in the house, and you're the one who's being haunted by these ghosts
Yeah.
that are haunting actually the characters, but you're the one who's being terrified. So I can kind of see Beck, I kind of wonder if I don't know if it is, but it might be a Castle production. I'm not 100% sure about that, but there was like this producer, famous guy, that was like Dark Castle Productions. I forget what it is
Castle
exactly,
Rock?
but
No, that's a different one.
no, it wasn't Castle Rock, but he was known to do a lot of like publicity stunts. One time, I forget which movie it
The
was,
Tingler.
but he actually the tingling. Well, he what he used to do is he actually used to pass out life insurance forms to
Yeah.
people because they would be so terrified, or like release forms that they promised they wouldn't sue the company, the movie company, if they died of a heart attack or
Yeah.
something like that. Or like he would do some kind of like rumble thing on the chairs to really shock the audience when they watch his movies. So I think what it is that they use their medium to its full potential, not using any kind of like computer special effects, because obviously there wasn't any back then. But I feel that especially these old black and white films, they had to get really creative because they didn't have the money or the technology to do the things that we can do now. A lot of the jump scares weren't really jump scares; they were like they were more environmental.
Yeah.
So like I was saying, like they would overmodulate the sound, so it's like a cacophony of like noises going through your head while you're trying to watch this film, and it was all intentional.
Yeah. The only
So I
Oh no,
go
I
ahead.
was just sorry. I thought you were over there. I thought the only thing I was seeing was Argyle Enterprises and Humphrey Searle as the music and directed by. I
Yeah.
don't see Castle, so I don't know. Maybe you're
All
probably
right, maybe
correct, but
not.
it's buried in there. I'm not gonna do all the deep research now, but sorry.
Yeah, yeah. No, but that's what it was back then. It's just like they knew their audience and they did what they could with what little that they had. And a lot of times, they were misses, but there were some few times where they were absolute hits. And I would definitely have to say that the Haunting, the original Haunting, is one of those movies that like terrifies the living daylights out of you just because of just the environment or like the atmosphere that they put you in while you're in the film. Like I can't imagine myself being in a movie theater and watching this in the dark movie theater while like the noise is happening in there. It's just I can't. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's usually the way. The only thing that gets me, the jump scare shit, I cannot. It gets old, and because I heard somebody say one time, that's not scary. That's not scaring. That's just frightening people because or just
Right.
startling. It's startling people because
Right.
all you're doing is going from a slow, quiet situation to blah, 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 like something flashing in the screen. And it's like, oh Jesus! And it's like I wasn't scared. It was just like, what
Yeah,
the
I know.
hell was that? Like it came out of nowhere. I hate that stuff. And
I know, and especially they're doing that now, like in the trailers that they release. And it's like I don't know. It's like it kind of like it leaves a person out. That they know that there's going to be a jump scare at this certain point, and it kind of cheapens the audience's experience on that particular movie.
yeah,
And I understand what the editors are trying to do. They're trying to draw the people into these movies, and they're trying to do something that is unique to make that movie stand out from all the other horror movies that maybe the audiences would want to go. So they want to do those particular scenes where they're shocking, but still, it's kind of like it reveals too much of the movie.
yeah, and usually, yeah, because like I even what was it? Just like Nope. I went and saw Nope twice in the theaters. I know that
Mm,
sounds crazy. I went once with my son, and then girlfriend heard about it, and she's like, "I want to see it now." So I'm like, "All right, I'll go back,"
yeah,
because I
yeah,
liked it. So I
yeah.
went basically two times within 2 days, 3 days, something like that. And yeah,
Right,
looking at those trailers, I was like, man, they do show a lot of like key points, but you don't have any context to them. So it doesn't
right.
take away, but at the same time in my head, I'm like waiting for where's that thing from the trailer, or like things in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
trailer happen differently on film. I found that there was a couple instances of shots they had of like the way things
Mm,
acted out or people acted out things or said something or did something, but it was the final cut. it was like a more subdued version of it or something. It was really weird because I'm like, wait, that was the same thing I remember like seeing in the trailers all the time, except it was like different. So yeah, they can ruin it a lot of times, or I guess in that case, I mean, that whole movie was weird. Did you see that yet?
I haven't seen that yet.
Go ahead.
I'm curious about it, and I think it's one of those. It's not like, I don't picture it as like a straight up horror. It's like a sci-fi horror,
it's
right?
not even,
So
yeah, if anything, you could say sci-fi. There are horrific moments in the movie. Mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, the movie starts out, and I thought it's almost one of those things like back in the day, like, did they put the wrong reel on? Like, I was like, what the hell is going on? And like, it seems like it has no connection to it at all. And I was like lost, and Campbell was sitting there too. And we're like, huh? And then the movie kicks in because yeah, but yeah, it's not a horror movie. And I think I don't know if they advertise it as such, but a lot of horror fans were like, fuck this movie, this is stupid. I'm like, it's not. That's not what it was. You know, I just kind of barely knew anything about it. I saw like one of the first teasers or something, and then was like, oh, that's cool, and then slowly forgot about it. And then it came out in theaters. I'm like, oh, that's that movie, let's go see it. So I didn't see a lot of stuff. I saw like the TV trailers and stuff afterwards, and I was like, ooh, why did they show the damn thing like chasing them down on horses and stuff? Like, all this could have been left to the imagination, at least until people saw it. But I don't know, I thought it was good. A lot of people think there's, you know, too many woke politics and this and that going on, and there was things said. Obviously, there's points they were making throughout the film, but they weren't hammering you over the head with it. You know, like they made the point, you know, that they're like, well, you know, I'm not even going to get into all that so people can pick me apart. But yeah, points were made, and but they didn't hammer you over the head with it. This isn't Marvel. Right. This isn't no. Well, no, I won't say the other one. We're too closely tied to it. Star Wars. You know, they're not going to start hitting you over the head with stuff. But
right. No,
not that I necessarily believe that, but sometimes with some of the stuff comes out, I'm like, oh, could you just left that out? We didn't need to put our real world politics in this. One of the movies, I just watched it last night. It was called Spell. Have you heard of this? And it was...
I don't think I have.
I totally forgot about it. I was looking through my my Facebook memories, and I saw me being psyched about this trailer for this horror movie, and I'm like, started watching it again. I'm like, what happened to this movie? And I was like, wasn't this like last year? And it was like, no, it was 2020 when it came out. But yeah,
what was it called?
It's just called.
I mean, I'm not sorry what it's called, but I mean, what was it about?
So, well, it's got the shorthand here. A man crash lands in rural Appalachia and wakens in the attic of a traditional hoodoo practitioner. He desperately tries to break free from her dark magic and save his family from sinister ritual before the rise of the blood moon. But it's 100% African American cast, and it's got this guy, who is it? Omari Hardwick, and he looks so familiar. And I bet if I did a little bit of digging into his background, you find. But it's him, and he's like a successful businessman. He, you know, grew up with an abusive father that was one of these hoodoo practitioners from this area or whatever, like into the kind of magic, and then finds out his father dies. So him and his family take his little, you know, not private plane, but, you know, 4-seater. I don't know what that is called, but, you know,
like a Cessna,
something like a small plane, and
or a single engine.
Yeah.
A single like propeller or whatever. Yeah.
And basically stop in this podunk town beforehand, get some gas, and meet some weird people, just like every Texas Chainsaw or, you know, The Hills Have Eyes. And then a storm happens when they're making their way into the mountains, and the plane crashes, and he just wakes up in this person's house. And he thinks his family's dead. He doesn't know where he's at. You know, everything. It's all this weird stuff. Without explaining too much, it kind of spoils it, because I'm like, and then this happened. But There's
right.
voodoo dolls at play, and weird what is it, like old revival tent. Like, if you're not a fan of animals getting hurt, you don't see anything. You don't
Right.
see it, but there's implied cat, stuff, which obviously I'm a cat lover. I got 2 of them in my house, but yeah, I was like,
Right.
don't kill Curtis, because it was a black cat. and then
leave poor Curtis
yeah,
alone.
and at one point they just show some other dead animals. So if you're sensitive, that sort of thing, don't watch it. But
Right.
I thought it was really good because it was just a different take on that person locked in a house with crazy people. Who is it? Loretta Devine. She's been in a ton of stuff. Like, if you've seen her, you would immediately know who she is. But she
Right.
just plays this part so great because she's just like sweet and nice and caring and like cheery and stuff, but can like flip on a dime and turn into sinister. And yeah, so I watched that last night, and then what else did we watch? Oh, we watched Midsummer because so I was like, I'm gonna ruin Liz's night.
Oh,
Yeah, so we watched
yeah.
Midsummer. She was like, man, it was all
That's when
right.
I booed
It's
it.
yeah,
Really? I mean, I've heard a lot about that film.
yeah, no,
About like my mom watched it. She's like, "Have you seen it yet?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Let me know when you do it."
it's just out
She's
there.
like, I just don't know. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
It's it's not
I'm
even like a gory film. Like, people might think like, oh my
right.
god, it's not a gory. I mean, there's gore in it, but it's more of just a weird, shocking film.
Yeah. Um, there is a more recent film that I saw a couple of years back. It's called Hold the Night. Have you heard about that?
Sounds familiar.
So it has what's that guy's name?
We're so great on here. We're always
Excuse me.
prepared. We're
He's
just shooting the shit, people. Luckily, there's
yeah,
computers at our fingertips to look this up.
I know, right? Jeffrey Wright. Do you know who that is?
Jeffrey Wright. Yeah.
He was in yeah, he was in Westworld.
Hmm.
Um I'm trying to remember what else he was. He's actually a really great actor. And he's like very subtle type of guy. But basically what it's about, it's like set in
Oh, Castle.
Alaska.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's double O. He was in double O. Casino
Oh yeah,
Royale.
he was the CIA liaison.
Yeah.
Felix
Unger.
Leitner, I think
Unger.
that's
No, Unger is the
Unger.
one.
That's
Is that the? No,
Unger.
no. You're right.
Yeah.
Unger is the one that's the. I think the Odd Couple.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Felix Leitner or something
Yeah.
like that. I can't remember his name, but he's a great actor. So like basically, I'm just giving you a quick synopsis. It's like after the death of 3 children suspected to be killed by wolves, writer Russell Core is hired by a mother of the missing 6-year-old boy to track down and locate the son in an Alaskan wilderness.
Yeah, I
And
do remember seeing this and kind of being like, "Oh, I need to watch that," and I totally just forgot about it.
dude, I would check it out. It's pretty messed up, and for some reason, for I kind of dig weird Alaskan stuff. So like, there was that Robin Williams film. Um, what's that one?
Insomnia.
Insomnia. Yeah,
Didn't it have Al
Insomnia. Like
Pacino in
that.
it too?
Yep, it had Al Pacino in it. That was a great film. Oh, I love that
Everybody
film.
thought that was a
But
bad move in Robin Williams, but I like that. And 1 Hour Photo was, I remember, being good.
yep, the 1 Hour Photo was a great film, and he was like in another one. I can't remember. It was like
What
he's
dreams may
like some
come.
kind of oh well, not even that, but but and yeah, he's one of those people that like I think what it is that people don't dig his films when it's something like that because it's not him. But I think what it is, it's like after a time, people they tend to appreciate it a lot more. And I feel that when it comes to like comedians and people who are mostly known for dramas, if they're able to break out of their shell and do something a little bit different and be daring
Oh,
about it, I think man,
wait. So
more kudos for them.
you say people, you broke up a little bit there, at least on my end. It'll probably be
Oh
fine on the audio end, but
yeah,
yeah. Can you repeat that? You said people, and then you broke out.
people. People who are like who are in comedies or straight up dramas,
Hmm.
if they tend to break out and do something a little bit different, then I have to give them props for that. And people out there should do the same thing. I mean, if it's just bad acting and they seem to be like way out of their element acting wise, then yeah, you can dump on it. But when it's something like whatever Robin Williams does, especially for something like that, he plays psychos and murderers really well.
Well, yeah,
So
yeah, because then it's somebody that you don't want it to be as well, because you know
yeah,
them as being such
yeah,
a nice person or making you happy, and then you see them
right,
in a movie where they're just a creep.
yeah. I mean, so which part of horror genre would you say is like the one that you mostly focus on? Like there are those where it's just like the unstoppable killer ones. Then there's like monster ones, and there's haunted house ones, and like just which one like in a particular genre, and what particular movie best exemplifies that?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I'm sitting here like as you're like talking about it, because of course, like it starts normal like everybody else when you're younger with Jason and Freddy, and it's like that's your standard measure. But
Right,
then as well, at least me, a teenager growing up with movies like Hostel and Saw and all these things coming out, and that being the most popular
right,
films, it was just like gore porn. And
right.
then
Yeah,
that's
torture
yeah,
porn.
torture porn, and it's just like I don't need to see like every single tendon of somebody's that you don't have to show it to me
Right,
anymore. I can't even probably take it anymore. I haven't watched Saw or Hostel in years, so Hostel I don't think I'll ever
right.
watch any of those. I see they got like 18 of them now, so uh
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Exactly.
But mostly now, I mean, Evil Dead's always been a through line with me, kind of like Star Wars. It's like Evil Dead's always there, like because it's comedy, it's
Yeah.
goofy, it's over the top. It's not really grounded. I mean, even the first one being what it is, it's still goofy because of their budget made it goofy,
Right.
and just what comes from that series going on. So looking at the first film after watching the other subsequent things, it almost makes the first film comical just because it's almost like the first film's trying to parody two instead of two, like when it was made they had to kind of redo it. But anyways,
Right.
but yeah, so usually the stuff I watch, it's got to be comical or like known to be over the top sake.
Right.
I don't like something when it's like really serious or just glorifying it too much, I guess. But that sounds weird because I'll
Right.
watch something that's completely filled like from end to end with blood and stuff. But um,
Right.
I don't know what would best exemplify it, but like what was that movie? The Cabin in the Woods. That's not the best. That's not the
Oh,
best version, but that's a good
yes.
because they're taking the piss out of everything. So
Right. Yeah.
it kind of is what I'm saying, where it's like I don't want it to take too seriously, but I also like the slapstick stuff. And then they got the stuff going on in the back at headquarters where they're taking bets on what monsters coming up next, or all these
Right.
payoffs, and in the end it's just a bloody just whole long sequence of just basically, sorry people if you haven't seen it, but it's a whole long anyways, it's a whole long sequence just full of blood, monsters, and
Right.
chaos, and it
Right.
ends like no way you would ever think. I was like, okay. Can't believe we went there, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's the kind of thing. It's got to be
It's a
known to be
horror movie
goofy. It has to
that
be
has
something
like
that
comedy.
what's that?
I said it's a horror movie that has comedy within it,
Yeah, but
you
I don't
know.
want everything like the Spell movie. Like, so that's a thing. Like that goes outside of what? Like it's got or something that's more like a tense, atmospheric. There's injuries and stuff in this movie, or you see some some bloody bits in somebody's hand. You don't, you think about where it comes from, but they don't show you them really retrieving these things. But that's a
Right.
very, very serious movie. And I mean, there wasn't really any comedy to it. There might be a thing or two where somebody does one little thing, but it's not like a joke. So I
Right.
guess it's just, yeah, it just has to, it's either got to be spooky, like ghost movies where it's just atmospheric, because that's about the only thing that'll get me now is like those movies where I'm just waiting for something to happen, like just looking around the corner for
Right.
the actor in the movie. But yeah, I'm usually just going for the straight up, basically an action movie and a horror movie combined. Yep. Did you freeze up?
Nope. I
Oh,
hear
okay.
you. I hear you fine. Yeah. Um, so for me, I always talk about this movie, and it's kind of like it kind of took the genre on its head. And I always say Event Horizon is my
Oh, yeah,
film.
yeah, yeah. I remember
You know,
watching that all
I
the time.
yeah, I always say that it's a haunted house in space.
Yeah.
And and it's one of those things where like space is always meant to be, yes, alien, but scientific. And this film takes it and adds a spiritual aspect of it, while it's kind of like Hellraiser in space type of thing, where they opened a portal to another dimension, and that other dimension is hell,
Yeah.
and it sneaks in, and it pretty much it pretty much kills everybody. But it's one of those films where I'm just like, it still leaves me unnerved, because it just shows that, like, no matter where you are, horror is always going to be there, and no matter how far you get away from Earth, there's always going to be some kind of uh, some unstoppable
Something's going to
force
get you.
just lurking behind you. Yep, something's going to get you, regardless of everything else. You have, like, the emptiness of space. There's no oxygen up there, so you could simply just die of that, or something explodes, expose decontamination and everything else. But then there's like, oh, let's up it up a little bit more, and just say that these demons from another dimension are are invading you, trying to kill you too. So it's like nature and science and everything else is trying to kill you, and we're just adding just another bit, just to ruin your day. So
Yeah.
just living the hardship of just being up in space, and just adding and making things worse.
Yeah, but that's one of those movies too. I just actually I did hear, because that's where I was hearing about being startled versus being scared. And that was one of the movies somebody
Right.
brought up in the group. They were like, "Yeah, like Event Horizon, it's one of those things like you're washing your face in the sink, and then stand up and shut the medicine cabinet, and your dead wife's behind you, all bloodied or whatever. Just like
Right.
like scares the
Right.
crap out of you."
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So like that's what I always feel is at least for me, that's like the pinnacle. I'll be curious to see what other people think about what they feel is like their pinnacle movie in whatever particular genre of horror. But like, at least the two ones that we gave out, where I feel that are pretty good examples, and something that we would, I mean, I wouldn't mind watching it again, but it'll probably be a little while before I watch that movie again. It's been a long time, and I'm just not very eager to watch it again. So, but I still give that movie heaps of praise for sure.
Wait, this are you saying Event Horizon? No, wait, which one are you just saying? I
Yeah, Event
missed it.
Horizon.
Oh, okay. You're not going to watch it
If,
anytime soon?
I know, like, that's the thing. It's like I praise that movie up and low, but I'm just like, am I like, do I really want to ruin my sleep
Oh man, it's
to
got
watch
that big
that
of
film?
effect. That's
Oh, yeah,
crazy.
it's a major effect on me, man.
I don't
Major
know.
effect on me.
I don't know if I got a copy of that rolling around in the tiny collection I got over here. I'm gonna have to look it up.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's probably streaming
Yeah,
somewhere.
I mean, yeah, it's one of those movies. That's probably I've seen it on Netflix. Probably, who knows? That stuff goes in and out, goes to one thing, goes to another. Their license runs out. Blah 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 blah.
Absolutely.
Load.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Shoot, there was one I was going to bring up. Now I wish I could remember. Yeah, because because I talked about this with David and his buddies. I think it was just like age. What age did you like first start watching them? Yeah. Do you remember?
Let's see. It was probably 85 when I. So,
that's not an age. That's
I
a
remember.
Year.
I know, but like I remember Fright Night.
Oh, nice.
On HBO, and I remember seeing that like in there. It was that. Hold on. Where's my? Oh, here it is. I'm trying to find out when was Fright Night on, because I remember watching that on HBO, and I think Fright. Yep, 85 Fright Night. So like I think I seem to remember what, because you also have to remember that growing up there was a show called Creature Double Feature.
Yep.
So it was like all the old classic films. So it was like Frankenstein and Vampire the Mummy, Wolfman, like those old school Hollywood horror films. But like when it got to like the real messed up stuff was when we got HBO, or actually I didn't get HBO. We got a Scribble box, and I was able to watch HBO. So uh, there used to be a box that you used to have to like tune it, and then like whatever the frequency was, then you're able to like watch HBO that way. So I was able to watch HBO, and I was able to watch that film there. So I mean I would have to say that was probably one of my first films, at least that I remember distinctly, scaring the living daylights out of me. So I think that was like my first horror film. Do you remember yours?
Yeah, that's why I was trying to remember what. I don't know if I had a first, but I remember I was severely young to be watching any kind of horror. But a grandmother
Right.
that she didn't not care. This was my grandma Savage, who passed away when I was about 7 years old or something. But I remember being like 5 and 6 and getting Nightmare on Elm Street or friggin' Leprechaun, or whatever movie was on the shelf. Like when we go, like I wasn't the kid getting like. I mean, I was at the same time, I guess, because I remember watching all kinds of cartoons and goofy stuff. But yeah, it was like horror movies. It's like I shouldn't have seen any of this stuff at that age. And so I
also you have to remember too that Leprechaun was starred by who?
Aniston.
and
Mr. Warwick Davis.
Warwick Davis, that's right. Another Star Wars connection.
Warwick W. Davis. No. There's a Wicket W. What is it? He's always a W in Star Wars, right?
Oh yeah, Wicket, and I can't remember who the other ones
somebody's
were.
The super friends are yelling at us. It's always been a W. I'm trying to think of the other ones now. I'm totally blanking because I was. Oh, that's gonna make me mad. But yeah, so all those movies. But yeah, I was way too young to be watching that, and then like you were just bringing up like Chopping Mall and stuff like that, and
yeah,
I remember getting into that phase with my friends. It was like, oh, this movie's so bad, it's good, and just watching just
like
those.
House. Yeah, House and House 2.
Yeah, but we talked about that with what was that, James? Yeah, I think that was one of his favorite films, because I believe he said he told us, was it Kane Hodder was the caveman in it?
Oh, that's right. Yes.
I think Kane Hodder told him that himself.
Yes, that's right. I remember that now.
Speaking of, since we're on the Halloween topic, Hocus Pocus 2 came out,
yes.
and with a resounding applause here at the household.
Oh, really?
I didn't. I was kind of like, meh, geez. Anyways,
I was kind of lukewarm about it.
yeah,
I was excited. I was excited about it, and then I saw it, and I was just kind of like, eh, like it didn't really,
exactly. It was more. It
you
was
know.
more of a like I remember loving it as a kid, but the little one, she found it like maybe not even a month ago, and then watched it like 4 or 5
Right,
times that week. Like the witches, the witches.
right.
I'd be like, "What are the witches saying?" She goes, "Hey, hey, hey." Like, but so yeah,
I mean,
we were ready to
did
watch.
you see the
Oh,
did you see the Count Orlok
that's what I
uh
was gonna say. I was
shot?
speaking of James
Uh,
Lergio and Count Orlok's
hmm.
Nightmare Gallery, located in Salem,
Yep.
Massachusetts. If I had the address, I'd blurt it out like I was on air. Um,
Like we knew we were talking
Yeah,
about.
but no, they actually, I did see it, or Liz caught a better shot of it, but it was in the movie. And I
Hmm.
don't know who's listening to this and has seen it. There's a trolley being used in the film at one point, and it's a set
Yep.
piece. And on the side of the trolley are businesses, and basically right in the middle, like left of center, is Count Orlok's Nightmare Gallery. And
That's right.
he was kind of a little bummed it wasn't more prominently featured. There were some still shots, but it was like right behind the girl's back, like she kind of moved one time, and then you just saw
Yeah.
just a little bit of it, and then that was it. But yeah, there was one shot where they were like the witches are flying off or flying in, whatever, and you can see it on the side. So that was pretty cool. I felt
Yeah.
good for them that he actually got in there, because I
Yeah.
remember when he first saw it, he's like, "Oh my god, fingers crossed it makes it into the movie."
Well, kind of.
Yeah, hey man, that was like midnight. Shaun with Midnight. It was funny because they're in the Ghostbusters. The which one? Go the all female Ghostbusters.
Oh,
Yeah, they're
really?
on a poster at that rock concert at the end. Uh, that they go to on the
Oh,
posters somewhere in the list of bands. It says you can see Midnight
midnight.
real tiny on there. So yeah, hey man, it's like
Yeah.
I would be like I'm in the movie in some
Yeah.
way.
I know. Well, that's the same thing with my dad and my stepmom. They're like they're extras in movies that were made for like I don't know, maybe like a span of maybe 10 or 5 to 10
Wait,
years. They would be extras in movies.
wait,
And he
what
would like, oh,
years?
he's like, yep, there I am. I'm trying to remember. Like my stepmom is really prominent in the background in The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds,
Oh,
and um, my dad is in Paul Blart Mall Cop too as well.
wait, does Barry know this?
I don't know if he does or not, but
Oh,
and and then both of them are in the crowd in The Fighter, the one with Christian Bale
oh,
and Mark Wahlberg.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So they're like in
Uh,
the boxing ring arena.
yeah, they're in the crowd. Yeah, and I guess actually my stepmom was almost one of the sisters in
Oh,
that.
really?
Like I guess like yeah, like he had like what 5 or 6 sisters or something like that. Like
Nope.
yeah, my stepmom was going to be in one of those too. So, but that didn't pan out. But still, it's like they're
Yeah,
all in
that's
movies. I'm
crazy.
like, what the heck?
Now what you have to do is
So,
somehow I wish we were able to it was possible to get a 8x10 uh like Paul Blart still with your dad. Your dad
oh,
signs it and then send it to Barry. Where it's
I
like
know, right? Yeah,
Kevin James in the foreground, and then just like he's blurry or he's like right in the back.
yeah, right.
That's
No, I could probably find the scene that he was in and like take a picture and and print it out and have my dad sign it and send it to Barry. I could
hey
probably do that
hey
actually.
we got Secret Santa coming up, man.
Oh, that's
Oh, I might have
true.
to
That's
cut this out.
true.
We'll find out if Barry actually listens to these. No,
I doubt it. I doubt he
but that'd be
does.
hilarious. Oh my god. Um,
He's got Sega money, so
yeah,
he
yeah,
does,
yeah,
he doesn't want to mess around with us.
yeah. To people out there, yeah, our friend Barry, that's just got a. I don't know. I can't tell anymore. It's crossed beyond a joke. I believe his love for Paul Blart.
Yeah, exactly.
Or maybe it's just Kevin James, and Paul Blart's a byproduct of it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But all right. So what are we good? You have any more?
No, not really. Hopefully we get this one out here soon.
All right.
And try this video thing out. I've been not looking at the camera the whole time because I'm used to the camera being right here on my computer. So sorry everybody.
Right, yeah, exactly.
I'm looking down and doing research. Dan's disappearing into the background.
Yeah, I know,
it's like
right?
when we had Sheldon on.
My Pet Monster.
Yeah, when Sheldon was on, he leaned back sometimes and we were just talking to a virtual background. Yeah, My Pet Monster.
Nice.
But
nice My Pet Monster.
We're gonna try this out, see what happens, see how it goes, and until next time,
keep on asking questions. That's terrible. That is so terrible.
It was on a delay on my end too, so there was like this, and then it was just keep on asking questions.
Reach for those stars, kids.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, geez.
All right. Have a good night.
I look so depressed. I'm like looking over because I'm not used to this thing being here, and I keep looking over, and I look like I'm just like,
right.
I don't care, Dan. I don't
care. I know. Like you could care less. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Yeah. All right. Well,
really appreciate
I guess,
that.
Have a good day, night, whenever you're looking at
have
this.
A good night.
Well, no, we'll be having one more with the Halloween season, 1 or 2 more here coming up. So get ready for the
exactly.
Dan and Ian's have spooky questions.
Lightning bolts. Can you add special effects to that?
Oh yeah, we're doing this.
Let's okay, good. All right, good.
And then it'll just be nothing like last time. Oh, like they'll know if I didn't do it.
I know, right? All right, see you.
Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or suggestions, write to us at danandianpod@gmail.com or search Dan and Ian Have Questions podcast on Facebook. Intro music provided by Ian Savage. Music produced and recorded by Shaun Vanek at Mercenary Studios. Thanks again for listening, and see you next time.